It's just really, really a privilege to be honoring Mr. Fred Jackson for Black. Truly an honor that I have, the distinct honor to, on behalf of the City Council, to present this proclamation. So what I will do is I will read this proclamation, I will present it to Mr. Fred Jackson, and I will ask Mr. Jackson if he will say a few words for all of us. Maybe we could have a couple of pictures, and then I will, I think we may have some speakers signed up from the public. 13 speakers, and if any of the council members want to make some comments, we'll hear from them as well. So I want to begin by saying this proclamation honors Fred Davis Jackson for his exemplary service to the Richmond community. Whereas February is Black History Month and a time when we emphasize the importance of honoring the many accomplishments and contributions of African Americans to our society. And whereas Fred Davis Jackson is a peacemaker, community builder, writer, and educator who has lived in Richmond ever since moving here from Mississippi in the 1950s, and who has profoundly influenced the lives of countless people in our community, and continually demonstrates his deep love of humanity across all races and ethnicities, which he endearingly refers to as the human bouquet. And whereas Fred Jackson is an inspiration to all who are seeking to overcome challenges, whether through words of sincere encouragement one-on-one, through his exhilarating oratory at public meetings, and whereas as a peace and social justice activist, Fred Jackson sat in at lunch counters in the South during the 1960s civil rights movement, participated in the walk from San Pablo to Sacramento with March for Education, and then fasted for 19 days with Fast for Education. School funding in 2004. He's been a constant anti-death penalty advocate, was a leader in the movement to save the life of Stanley Tookie Williams, who was executed, sadly, in 2005, whereas Fred is a promoter of violence prevention initiatives and books by Stanley Tookie Williams, supported the 2006 to 2008 Tent City Peace Movement vigils in Richmond. Was a recipient of the 2000 Peacemaker Award in Contra Costa County. And whereas, as a community builder, Fred Jackson, together with Pastor Tommy Bradford and Paul Foster, donated a parcel of land which enabled the city of Richmond, the Labor of Love Community Development Corporation and related companies to establish the Trinity Plaza Housing Complex for low-income seniors at McDonald Avenue in Fort Street, and was named a hometown hero by the Bay Area News Group in 2010. And whereas as a writer, Fred Jackson wrote, directed, and produced the play Brother Dap at the Richmond Auditorium in 1994, wrote a novel, An Evolution in Black and White, wrote his soon-to-be published Reflections, Thoughts Set Free on the Wings of Expression, and has written and performs numerous songs, including One Step at a Time, Too Early, Too Young, and When the Ozone is Gone. And whereas as an educator, Fred Jackson has worked for many years at Neighborhood House in North Richmond on lead abatement, HIV education, healthy eating, active living collaborative, was a trainer in 2007 to 2008 of the Peace Empowerment Process for the World Wall for Peace at Hollis Middle School, Crescent Park Multicultural Center, and Chris Adams Center. And this year introduced a health covenant uniting the community and church in a fight against diabetes. And whereas the above-mentioned accomplishments are but a few examples of the full range of contributions Fred Jackson has made to our community. And whereas Fred Jackson is well loved and respected throughout Richmond and the Bay Area. Well loved by his friends, family, fellow activists, and the full cross-section of people of all races, ages, ethnicities, genders, and political beliefs who have the pleasure of interacting with him. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Gayle McLaughlin, on behalf of the Richmond City Council, do hereby proclaim the City of Richmond's deep appreciation for the countless accomplishments and contributions that Fred Davis Jackson has made to our community, and be it further resolved that we encourage all residents to join with Fred Jackson in continuing to build a better, healthier, more peaceful, and socially just Richmond. Thank you. I want to just say thank you from my heart. Fred is at all the events, Fred is out there walking, Fred is out there talking, Fred is out there doing. And I thank you, Fred, for all that you have done and that you are continuing and will continue to do for our community. And with that, please give us a few comments.
Thank you, Mayor, and to the City Council, and all of you who are here tonight. First thing I want to do, I want my family to stand. I haven't met my family. I want to take this time out to introduce you. As my sisters come up, just come up and so you see my brother Leo, just come up so they can see who you are. My niece Zena, and this is my sister Elaine. In fact, I'm staying at Elaine's house now as I go to chemotherapy. And I'm real animated. I have problems with Mike, because Mike's everybody good. And at the end, this is my nephew, Patrick Foster, who is my new pastor at Abundant Grace. That's all right. Also my sister-in-law, Cassandra, and my brother Leo. And here is my sister Dorothy. Sister Dorothy. So and also Paul Foster, my brother-in-law, and the sergeant. These are Sergeant Foster. I just renamed him that. Because he drives me and makes me do the right thing. I thank God for him. You got his answer.
I just want to make sure they can get a picture of that while you talk.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
My text tonight will be coming from Daniel the 7th chapter. But I just want to say I thank you all, but you know, you're giving a big old thanks to yourself. Because first of all, let me say, I often tell my family this, whatever I am, whatever I'm hoped to be in terms of humanity, I owe it to my family. they drove me, they asked me to do things. My brothers asked me to write songs, and I felt if I wrote any song, my brothers could sing it, so that inspired me. And so you drove me, so whatever I am tonight, as this proclamation point out, it's a big old U. All right. Big old U. Because it's us. And John F. Kennedy said it best, and I often think of what John F. Kennedy said in his addresses. He says, God's work on earth is indeed our own. And so God's work, no matter what church we're from, what religion, where, who, when, why, that is God's work that needs to be done on this side of life. And so, having said that, I'm thinking, I want to tell you what drives me is the hounds of conscience. There are some hounds that drive me, that make me do the right thing. And I often ask these hounds to bite me, if you will. If I need a bite, praise God. Bite me. But let's make sure my conscience is on the move. So if I see a child begging for bread and I turn my head, I said, bite me, hounds of conscience. Bite me and make me give them some bread. If I see someone who is hungry and I select to pray for them first rather than feed them, you bite me, hounds of conscience. Wake me up. And so that's what's been my driving force. Now, I've been bitten many times because I haven't always done the right thing all the time. But I have my scars, our scars, because you are part of those hounds. And I want you to keep on hounding me when there is peace, the lack of peace in North Richmond, Central Richmond, South Richmond. You hound me. When there's a lack of cooperation between Afro-Americans and Hispanic Americans, hound me. When there's some problems between Asian Americans and Black Americans, hound me. Make me do something about it. Yeah. Because as I close, my hero, I'm going to tell you my heroes, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, and others, of course. And I made up in my mind that I wouldn't just talk about what they do, that I would walk what they do, that I would let my legs be their legs, I would let my eyes be their eyes. I will let my thoughts be their thoughts. And if I do that, then I can change things. And you can too. And so all this that has been written, it's nothing unless it come alive in our lives. And so I thank God for that. I thank God for the help and strength that I have now. Thank you for your knowledge in me. But I want you to know that the hounds of conscience is still biting me. And they're going to keep on biting me because I'm going to give them the okay because I asked for it. And they're not letting me down at all. But if we do that, everybody, we can do that. We can change things. We can change. Richmond can become that one Richmond that we talk about. It can happen. It can happen. Look at the world changing around us. It can happen, y'all. It can happen. But it takes human beings full of vim and vitality, full of love, full of determination to make it happen. So therefore, you keep praying for the hounds, then I'm going to keep running from the hounds. I'll keep being bit by the hounds, but we're going to hound around. That love is going to be hound around and love will be spread. Thank you very much.
Dear Honorable Mayor McLaughlin and council members, As you know, respected community activist Fred Jackson is facing cancer with grace and high spirits. Fred has devoted his life to community peace and to improving the lives of people in the Richmond area and beyond. I believe the time is right to honor him by naming the major street in North Richmond after him. I propose the City of Richmond and Contra Costa County jointly rename the main street that goes through the city and county areas in North Richmond as Fred Jackson Way or Street. As a tribute to Fred's lifelong commitment to our community. Currently, the main street is called Filbert Street on the city side, and the name of the street changes to 3rd Street on the county side. Fred has long worked tirelessly to unify our communities. In his spirit of unity, having one common name for this street makes sense. The current street names have been a source of confusion over the years. How appropriate that we should name the street after Fred, someone who has done so much to bring people together on both sides of the county and city boundary. I have already directed our Public Works Department to start the process to rename 3rd Street after Fred Jackson. I would also propose that we plan a joint community event to celebrate this name change. I look forward to working with the City of Richmond in appropriately honoring one of our greatest community treasures, Fred Jackson. Sincerely, John Joya.
Truly, this award in recognition of Mr. Fred Jackson is very deserving. I know no one who has worked as hard as he has in the city of Richmond. And I found out one thing about him. He will not tell you nothing that he cannot deliver. Whatever he tells you, he will do it. And I feel that it's very recognizable and that he should have been recognized, and he's been one of the greatest activists in the city of Richmond for a real long time. I've known him for a real long time. And sometimes I thought about people criticize the mayor for taking the time to do these proclamations. But this is what it's all about, recognizing those who have labored in the city of Richmond for many years. And that's pretty much it. But you did the right thing on tonight.
There was a song Fred used to sing called The Man in the Middle.
Yes. Yes, right. Watch out.
That man, Fred, in the middle is you, man.
All right.
You cross borders of Richmond that no man could cross. They say, can anything come good out of Richmond? Fred Jackson came from Richmond.
Yes.
He came from Alabama, but he's from Richmond.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people look up to me today is because I follow men like Fred, you know, who do the right thing for the right reason. See, it's hard to find people to do the right thing for the right reason. I'm going to say it again, it's hard to find people to do the right thing for the right reason. See, for us, our black kids don't see black men. They see shadows of men. They see the dope dealers and think he a man. That don't make you no man.
That's right. That's right.
You know, they see because you got 20 kids, that don't make you no man because you got to take care of them. You know, family and history come together. I've always said this. I tell my daughter all the time. If you know your history, you got some power. If you ain't got no history, you ain't got no power. And our kids don't have no history, so they don't see that they have power. So, you know, Fred, you know, he got a lot of gray hair on him. And I heard a pastor say this, and I'm going to sit down, and he said that our people need to start showing their gray more and start using that dark and lovely. And start showing that wisdom that they have so our kids can see that they have grandmothers and aunties and uncles instead of sisters and friends. Thank you very much.
I was brought into Contra Costa Health Services to run a program called Healthy Neighborhoods Project. And it was a project that was resident-led, and it was to organize around health advocacy issues. And Fred was one of the first residents that I met. He inspired North Richmond youth to organize and develop their leadership potential, and he knew they had it. Some of the youth didn't think they had it, but he knew they had it, and he would watch over us as we conducted our meetings. He delivered messages of hope and perseverance to residents around various health advocacy issues and pride in the history of North Richmond. His music inspired and kept us all on the right path to justice. And he made me cry several times. Fred Jackson's example of activism will continue to inspire us to walk with integrity, hope, and unity. And I just want to say, Fred, that who you are inside will always be with each one of us that work with you, and we love you dearly.
Hello, everybody. My name is Janie Anker. I'm a longtime resident of Richmond. I'm also a freedom justice fighter. But Fred Jackson, I have never met a man in all my years of fighting for justice and marching since the 60s. I've been marching, and I've met many, many, many people, but I've never met anybody like Fred Jackson. Fred and I go back a way, and I'm so proud to call him my friend. Thank you.
Council, my name is Clarence Van Hook. I grew up here in Richmond. I have a business here in Richmond for years, and I'm honored that you are honoring my son. I call Fred my son. We grew up together. I knew him when he was knee-high to a duck, as they say. Anyway, Fred had a beautiful lead voice. He could sing. He and my brother and his brothers had one of the best quartets in the state, in the country, really.
Yes.
Fred, I always knew. He was very easy to work with, and I knew he would amount to something, and he did. I'm so proud to own him as my godson. His family and my family were like my mother, treated them all just like her own. And when I think of Fred, I think of a song that says, "Let me live in the house by," it's a poem. It says, "Let me live in the house by the side of the road and be a friend to man." That's the way Fred has carried his life. And there's another song that says, "If I could help somebody as they pass along, if I could cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I could show somebody," and Fred's been doing all of that, "where they're going wrong, then my living will not be in vain."
Hi, I'm Ellen Keeling, and I'm a 30-year resident of Richmond, and unfortunately, I didn't know Fred Jackson all of those years. But I am absolutely certain my life would be better if I had. He's been like a brother from another mother to me. He's a friend, he's a comrade.
Yes.
We've been sharing that same path in life, and we're soldiers that care about equality and the health and well-being of people. What I know about Fred, he is a champion in Richmond,
Yes.
and he is a champion for humanity
Yes.
and equality. And he's not a preacher, but he speaks like he's a preacher. He sings like he's a preacher. And I know we're a lucky, lucky town
Yes.
to have somebody like Fred. I'm so proud to be here and see him get this great recognition.
Yes.
So well deserved.
Fred Jackson, I had the pleasure of knowing him now for 3.5 years as the executive director for Richmond Main Street. He is truly a champion for the downtown and has really helped me through some challenging times and truly been an inspiration. And I am so happy to let you all know that he will be honored as a downtown champion for Richmond Main Street, and we thank him for his service. And I'm honored and always inspired. Thank you. My name is Latresa Alford, and I'm the senior representative for Congressman George Miller. Congressman Miller could not be here this evening. He's currently in Washington, D.C., working on behalf of the city and his other constituents. So he has presented some remarks that I would like to read for the record. Dear friends, I am pleased to have this opportunity to thank Mayor Gayle McLaughlin and the Richmond City Council for honoring my dear Fred Mockingbird Jackson, for his exemplary service to the Richmond community. Fred is an admirable role model for our youth. He is an activist for peace, education, and social justice. In the 1960s, he sat with students at lunch counters in the South during the Civil Rights Movement. In 2004, he marched with students and education supporters
from San Pablo to Sacramento, then fasted for 19 days, bringing attention to demands for more equitable school funding. In 2005, he advocated against the death penalty in the movement to save the life of Stanley Tookie Williams, an author of violence prevention initiatives and books. And from 2006 to 2008, he supported the Tent City movement in Richmond, all which earned Fred the 2000 Peacemaker Award for Contra Costa County. Fred is a humanitarian, and I have always been impressed by his compassion and advocacy for freedom and justice for all people. I was not surprised to learn of Fred's donation of land, resulting in a partnership that enabled the Labor of Love Community Development Corporation to construct Trinity Plaza housing for low-income seniors at 4th McDonald Avenue. Fred is a composer and performer of socially conscious music, a playwright and an author of several books. I was honored when Fred invited me to contribute my perspective for his novel, Thoughts Set Free on the Wings of Expression. So it is without reservation that in 2008, I designated Fred Jackson as an elector to cast my electoral college vote for Barack Obama to become the first African-American ever elected as the 44th President of the United States. Again, I commend the city of Richmond and join with the community in honoring my friend, Fred Jackson, for his continual commitment to the residents of Richmond and the city and the citizens of humanity. Sincerely, George Miller. I also just briefly want to say that George is aware that the community is going to do an event. So at that time, he's going to stand in the hall of Congress before his colleagues and enter into the congressional record remarks on behalf of Fred Jackson that will remain in Congress and for everyone in the world to see throughout time. So.
Fred has been called a lot of wonderful things tonight, but what I'm going to tell you, I call him, and this has been ongoing, and that is he is my saint. You know, I'm not buying it about the hounds and the whatever fighting him because I've never known Fred. I've known him for 13 years. I've never known him to do anything wrong. I mean, he truly is a living saint.
Yes.
And so, and we have a little thing where we tease because I've been trying to learn how to be a saint. We know how difficult that is. So when I can demonstrate it every now and then, we call me, Fred will say, oh, you've been Barbara Jackson when I can be a saint. So when he needs to man up and toughen up, then he's Fred Becknell, but we try to keep him in the same category as much as possible. But at any rate, I want to be like Fred when I grow up, because he is absolutely my hero.
My name is Patrick Foster, Senior Pastor of Abundant Grace Fellowship, and this month of April coming, we're planning an April night awesome event with special guests coming, where we just want to honor the legendary Fred Jackson with a great celebration. His last endeavor was the Health Covenant, and so we're titling this whole event, Healthy You, a Healthy Me, helps unite a healthy community.